Here's what's happening right now. Even without a lick of sunshine, temperatures making a run at 50 degrees, and this won't be the only time it happens this week. Paula.
Hey, Ben. Well, the city of Detroit makes it onto another one of those notorious international lists. Only this one's actually good news, and it even involves a local cool castle. Karen.
All right, thank you, Paula. Also, first at 4, a Roseville woman in court in tears. She's accused of stabbing her boyfriend, but she claims there's more to the story. Up first, outrage in Warren right now. Protesters are demanding the resignation of Mayor Jim Fouts after a series of embarrassing tapes are made public. Breaking news, first at 4. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Karen Drew. First at 4, we start outside City Hall in Warren, where protesters have been demanding the resignation of Mayor Jim Fouts. A series of offensive audio tapes has the mayor playing defense, even as he says it's not him on those tapes. Steve Garagiola is in Warren this afternoon at City Hall. So how big was this protest?
Well, the protest has just broken up within the last 20 minutes or so. Really, the last 10 minutes, it kind of devolved into arguing between supporters and critics of Mayor Fouts. Let me show you some video of what the protest looked like maybe a half hour ago. It was not huge, maybe a dozen to 15 people as part of the protest. The gathering organized by Reverend Maurice Hardwick of Detroit. He says in his mind there is only one logical outcome here, and that is that Mayor Fouts needs to resign.
We're here to call for Mayor Fouts' resignation. He is an embarrassment to Warren, to the office of a public servant, and to our country.
This morning, Mayor Fouts posted to his Facebook account, "There is tremendous effort to force me out by slander, by character assassination, lies, and by outright condemnation of me. My actions as mayor have been inclusive, and no one can deny that. I am not answerable to any politician. I'm only answerable to the people of Warren." For now, this is the only way we have heard from Mayor Fouts, through his Facebook posts. We have not seen or heard from him as far as going on camera. At 5 o'clock, we'll hear from a fellow named Joe DeSano. He is a political advisor. At one time, he was a political advisor to Mayor Fouts. He says he heard firsthand some very racist comments from the mayor. At 6 o'clock, we'll hear from a man named Jerry Bell. He says he is a close friend of the mayor, sat with him this afternoon, and he says there is no way the mayor said any of these things. It is absolutely a setup. So some very strong emotions on both sides of this, and we'll continue to follow it. Reporting live in Warren, I'm Steve Garagiola, Local 4.
General Motors has made a major investment involving $1 billion and thousands of jobs. It might be short on some details, but it is already giving a positive response from one prominent person, President-elect Donald Trump. Here's a look at what GM is saying and not saying about the plan. 1,500 jobs will be added or saved at factories, most of those in Michigan, but GM won't say which plants. GM will in-source 450 jobs from a supplier currently operating in Mexico, but GM won't name that supplier. GM does say it will add 5,000 jobs in finance, engineering, and technology. The company denies the timing of the announcement was influenced by President-elect Trump. Some auto industry experts disagree.
The timing of this is not coincidental. It all comes on the eve of inauguration of a president who has been very forward in his efforts to rebuild the manufacturing base. You can't separate the two. It's not a coincidence.
President-elect Trump, who earlier criticized General Motors for importing cars to the U.S., took to Twitter today in response to GM's news. He said, in part, with all the jobs I am bringing back to the U.S. and the new auto plants coming back to our country, I believe the people are seeing, quote, big stuff. So far, BMW is not bowing to pressure from the president-elect. The German automaker says it is standing by plans to build a plant in Mexico. In an interview with Bild magazine, Trump mentioned a 35% tax for BMW, but the automaker says it will sell cars out of its Mexico plant all over the world, including the United States. Police are looking for answers this afternoon after a half-naked man is found shot to death on the city's west side. His body was found about 7 o'clock this morning. Police say the man was shot multiple times and was on the sidewalk near Vassar Drive and Faust Avenue. Police are investigating. Relatives of a Roseville woman charged with stabbing her boyfriend repeatedly with a steak knife say she acted in self-defense. 29-year-old Bettina Jackson was today charged with assault with intent to murder. Her 39-year-old boyfriend says he was stabbed 9 times after he refused to make a relationship commitment. The tearful Jackson pled to be released so she could care for her 5-year-old daughter and 12-year-old son. She was jailed under a $250,000 bond. Governor Rick Snyder will deliver his State of the State tonight in Lansing. Last year, Flint's water crisis was the big topic. Tonight, he may talk about upgrading infrastructure across the state, although it's not clear where the funding would come from. Find out what the governor has to say and how it affects you and your family. We'll have live coverage on Local 4 and clickondetroit.com tonight at 7. So much ice overnight and this morning. Boy, lots of schools were closed, but then all of a sudden things warmed up and kids were able to enjoy their day off of school. Ben Bailey.
The ice is toast. Karen, 47 is where we're sitting right now at Metro. In fact, 40s across most of the area. It's not till you get up here closer to I-69 that the 30s start to show up. But Sandusky, you're not far from freezing at 35. You'll get in on the warming trend just a little bit later than everybody else. 4 Live radar showing that there may be a couple spits of drizzle out there. Generally, we should be dry until we get past midnight tonight. There's a wave coming through, so after 12 a.m. could be some rain coming back to the area. Maybe a few snowflakes, but no accumulation expected and should not be a major issue for tomorrow morning's commute. We'll see how long these 40s stick around in your 4-zone forecast in just a few minutes. Karen?
All right, thank you, Ben. President-elect Donald Trump continues preparations for Friday's inauguration, and more of his cabinet appointees are on Capitol Hill today, including Michigan's Betsy DeVos, who will start her confirmation hearing within the hour. She's the nominee for Education Secretary. At this time, more than 40 House Democrats, including Detroit's John Conyers, plan to boycott the inauguration. And so far, no signs of a ceasefire in Trump's battle with civil rights icon John Lewis. That dispute spurring the congressional boycott. Local 4 will bring you special live coverage of the presidential inauguration. Our Kimberly Gill will be in Washington, D.C. We sure hope you join our coverage right here on Local 4. More international kudos for the city of Detroit, and the timing couldn't be better with the auto show rolling along at Cobo Center. Take a look at this list. National Geographic calls Detroit one of the 6 unexpected cities for food lovers, along with cities like Budapest, Hungary, Santiago, Chile, and Wellington, New Zealand. Paula Tutman has been out talking to local food lovers today and the restaurants that tempt their taste buds. This is definitely something to brag about, Paula.
You know, Karen, who hasn't had the experience of going out of town, stumbling into a restaurant, experiencing a new flavor, and you just can't get it out of your mind? For me, it was pistachio chicken at a restaurant on a beach in Florida. But thank goodness you don't have to go that far anymore, and thank goodness the international world recognizes it. Edward Countryman, yeah, that's the name of this original city guy who's been in Detroit for more than 20 years, long before it was cool to be here.
I remember when Hudson's was here, and it was like a ghost town, so now it's like alive and well.
Now progress is literally moving down the tracks as the new Q-Line trains are being tested on Woodward. There are great shops and eateries, and everybody has a favorite place to take their taste buds on vacation in Detroit. Calexico.
You know, the spiciness, and you know, Mexican style food. Something new down here that hasn't been here before.
Hudson Cafe.
A lot of flavor, a lot of love, fresh ingredients. Everything is fresh.
The funky and the new have been married with a classic. Infrastructure and buildings that have been here from the heyday are reminding us while they may not build them like this anymore, they can certainly bring them back to glory. And where else can you find a castle in the middle of the city? And beneath the turrets, true treasure and gold, Republic Tavern. Inside, you find executive chef Sarah Welch and her nose-to-tail philosophy.
What it means is that we get animals in the building whole, and in-house we break them down. And when we break them down, we try and use everything from their nose to their tail.
The menu boasts rabbit, lamb, duck, beast, and fowl of all kinds, prepared with the hands of a chef who has explored every inch of the animal to prepare something memorable.
We also have the ability to kind of, make interesting things that other restaurants aren't making because they're not getting in whole animals. So it makes this competitive in a way that other restaurants can't be.
Every part of the castle is used as well, and very little has been done to change the architecture. In fact, that part is part of its charm. Even the prep kitchen is in the original dungeon.
It's the only restaurant where you can say I work in a castle in Detroit, so I guess that makes it really, really special and really, really cool.
You know, it does make it very special and very cool. Karen, I was just talking to the president of the Detroit Visitors Bureau last week, and I was saying, are we ever going to get to the point where we stop saying, wow, look at us, look at all this great press we're getting? And he said, no, because we worked really, really hard to get here. We deserve to be here. We deserve to be recognized for it. And how great is it for us? And you know what? The very best tourist, honestly, is us experiencing our brand new city. Karen?
Definitely, and sharing that great news with everyone. I love in this article, they don't just center on downtown. I mean, they talk about Midtown and Hamtramck and Corktown. So there are so many great places throughout the area.
You know what? It's about time we started making lists like this one.
I agree, and share it with our friends. Thank you, Paula Tutman, live from Republic this afternoon with a really bustling crowd. Looks great over there. Coming up, first at 4, putting hidden figures in the spotlight, a growing nationwide movement that's sending more low-income children to the movies. Also ahead, a huge icicle creates a big mess inside one woman's home, where it came from and what you can learn from her story. Good afternoon.
Hey Karen, in good health, babies and needles, how that combination might solve a frustrating problem for very young children and their parents. Plus another reason you might need to talk to your teenagers about their social media habits. That's all next.
Also tonight at 6:30, NBC News anchor Lester Holt reports live from Warren, looking at jobs and the economy from the Macomb County perspective. His Across America series on Local 4 at 6:30. We'll be right back.
The president.
In good health today, if your baby is colicky, it can be really frustrating and disturbing. But a new study is suggesting a pretty interesting alternative treatment. Dr. McGeorge is here with details.
Well, Karen, it was a smallish study of about 147 babies aged 2 months to 8 months, looking at the effect of acupuncture for colic. Now, colic was defined as crying for more than 3 hours per day for more than 3 days a week. And in the study, babies who received acupuncture 2 times a week, well, they cried significantly less than those who were not treated. Now, it wasn't completely clear if the result was from the acupuncture or just the extra attention during the sessions, but it's an interesting idea, definitely.
Yeah, I would never think to do acupuncture on a baby.
And most of them were not terribly uncomfortable during the acupuncture sessions,
which is good.
Which, right, important.
Another thing we're talking about, teens not getting enough sleep because of social media.
Yeah, well, this probably is no surprise to anyone. A survey of over 900 students between 12 and 15 found roughly 1 in 5 regularly woke up in the middle of the night to send or check social media posts, ultimately eating into their sleep. Now, for those who woke up to use social media nearly every night or who didn't wake up at a regular bed or wake up time, they were 3 times as likely to say that they were constantly tired at school, and they were more likely to be less happy than other students. Now, obviously, the teen years are complex and we can't blame everything on social media, but this is probably something that's real and important for us to look into in the future.
Definitely, and try to encourage to put the phones away.
Definitely.
If you can.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Doc. Well, it is not unusual to see really big icicles outside, but take a look at the huge piece of ice that formed in this woman's attic. She says there was a problem with her furnace exhaust pipe. It was blowing water into her attic, which froze, creating the huge icicle that smashed through her ceiling. She says it's a good reason everyone should check out their attic once in a while.
And squirrels, too.
Oh, those squirrels. And those birds.
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that gets into my house and tick, 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 tick.
At least our ice wasn't that bad last.
That's true, yeah. It was kind of, though, I was surprised in some areas it just like really hit, and then we had those power outages this morning.
We did. The further north you got, the worse the roads got. There were some branches down, but thank goodness that whole mess is done. And now we just got to get the clouds out of here and hopefully get some sunshine back at some point. This is a live shot at Mount Clemens. You can see it is overcast. Those clouds have been low all day. The fog's cleared up a little bit from this morning. 47 is where we sit now at Metro Airport. 16-mile-an-hour wind, but with temperatures at 47. That's a little high to be calculating a wind chill, so got that going for us, which is nice. Looking outside right now on the radar, not a whole lot to see. We will possibly see a couple spits of drizzle as we get to the evening hours, but this is really the next system that's going to be moving through here, and we'll put system in air quotes because it's just going to be a wave that'll roll through overnight, giving us a chance of rain. Maybe a couple snowflakes. You'll see it here after midnight is when we'll see that little disturbance. And again, most of this is going to be from Detroit south. As that exits, it'll be out of here long before we start our morning commute. Still going to be cloudy for much of the day on Wednesday. We may see these clouds break late as we get into Wednesday evening, but just as they do, we could be seeing some fog form over the area on Thursday morning. So we'll have to watch that pretty carefully, but generally not a whole lot of precipitation once we get beyond this chance of rain and maybe a few snowflakes tonight. Temperatures will drop but stay above freezing for most locations. 35 is what we're expecting at daybreak tomorrow. And here's how the highs look on our 4-zone forecast. We'll start in the metro zone tomorrow. Not quite as warm as what we saw today, but 42 is what we're going to see around the city of Detroit. Romulus and downriver pretty much in that same ballpark, right around 40 closer to M59. Generally 41 or 42 across our south zone tomorrow. West zone, this is where we could be seeing those areas that may not make it out of the 30s. Genesee and Livingston County will be two of those areas. We'll be watching for that. And in our north zone tomorrow, it is all 30s for highs, anywhere between 37 in Sandusky and 39 in St. Clair tomorrow afternoon. But generally, we will see 40s all the way through the upcoming weekend, and we'll even sneak a 50-degree reading in here on Sunday. So not quite winter blast-ish as we head towards the weekend. Even those morning lows are going to stay above freezing. 37 on Saturday, 40 on Sunday. We'll cool down a bit early next week, but still unseasonably mild for this time of year. So Karen, other than a couple flakes tonight, no snow in the forecast for the next 7 days.
Thank you, Ben. Many people are calling the movie Hidden Figures inspiring. Now there is a national movement to get more children to see the movie. We've got that story trending today, first at 4. Straight ahead, once again, scammers are looking to trick you. We have a warning you need to hear, and it could save you from a big, big hassle. That's next.
New Year's resolution.
All right, let's talk about today's trending stories. An internet security firm is warning everybody about an email phishing scam. That's where scammers send you an email trying to steal your password or other personal information. The latest round of emails are actually targeting Gmail users. But no matter which email service you use, you really need to be very suspicious of strange emails and never, ever click on any links. Also trending today, have you seen the movie Hidden Figures yet? A nationwide movement has actually started online, hoping to get more girls and boys to see the movie. GoFundMe accounts are popping up across the country to help kids who might not be able to afford to see the movie. Hidden Figures tells the story of 3 African-American women, math experts, who helped the American space program in spite of segregation. Okay, we also want to remind you of this. Get Fit for Good. It's our challenge here at First at 4, and it's a special report that you can follow online. We introduced you to 4 people looking to lose weight or get fit over the next 8 weeks. We made those big introductions yesterday. Well, now you can follow their efforts online and also do your own Get Fit challenge. We had about 9,000 views during the weigh-in on the Local 4 Paula Tutman page. So follow the challenge online. Stay tuned for updates. First at 4, and who knows, perhaps we'll get you motivated to.
I like that. Instead of just one buddy, you've got thousands.
You do, and what I like what Paula's doing, she's focusing on different people. Some need to lose weight, some people need to gain weight, some people need to get toned, and there's different age groups. So,
but healthy is what everybody's trying to get.
Yes, that's right, 2017. All right, still ahead, first at 4. You say you can't have fun outside in the middle of winter? Oh, some Canadians found a shortcut to building a better igloo. We've got their story and how they're celebrating, Ben, I think you're gonna like.
Winter.
Finally, first at 4. For some people, the winter's deep freeze isn't all bad, especially if you want to make your own igloo.
So much goodness in this story. Take a look at this. Some folks in Calgary, Canada, they took an old milk carton and they created this colorful igloo by filling the cartons with water and food coloring and then peeling away the paper.
See, I could do that with my kids.
Yeah.
Even better, they say they returned the leftover cartons to get their deposit money and bought a bottle of good scotch for an igloo housewarming. I really like that. You would like the scotch part.
No, I have the whole thing.
But it is kind of cool, kind of creative. We should have someone do it and tweet us. Show us if it works. Thanks for joining us. First and 4, we're back in a half hour with Local 4 News at 5.